Welcome everyone to the Rightsizing Your Life and Your Home Ownership webinar. My name is Brian Schwatka. I'm a Realtor and Transition Specialist with Keller Bay Area Estates in Los Gatos and in Saratoga. And I'm honored to be here today with Nelly Cotto. She's the Regional Sales Director from WellRive. You may know her from Managing Moves and More. She's been at it forever. I've been using Managing Moves and More in my career ever since the beginning. I've worked with Cindy Hofen. I was probably one of her first clients. And so I'm just going to try and get you to the 51%. I know a lot of you have that paralysis of analysis, right? You're 50% on the fence and want to get you to at least 51% by the end of the day. All right. So what I'm going to do, my portion of the presentation is, should you stay? Should you go? How and when to decide? And that's a lot of information. So I've packed 8 hours of information into 30 minutes. I'm going to try and do it in 20 to 25 minutes, and we'll see how that goes. So again, Realtor and Transition Specialist. Who is this Brian Schwatka guy with the blue shirt and crazy hair? My goals, I've been a Realtor for 20 years. I've been helping retirees get to retirement communities for 20 years. I've painted myself into a corner. I love my little corner. And I'd rather be great at one thing than really good at a bunch of different things. So my goals for my clients is to help them make the best decisions for their future, whether they're staying or whether they're going. That's the whole system. It's called the stay or go homeowner system. And I'm happy if you stay. I'm happy if you go. It's up to you. I just want to help you make these good decisions so you're not making any mistakes. And making mistakes at this age could be costly. So my goal here is to give you clarity, to give you certainty and confidence. And I do that by educating, not selling, but I'm educating you so that you can explore all your options. I want to lay it all out for you and help you make that decision. And I want to save you time, money, and frustration. And the way we do that is we're working on things sooner than later. I'm working with my clients 1 to 2 years in advance before their move or not move. But I'm helping them the whole time because we're doing things sooner than later, and I want to reduce your stress. And we do that slow and steady wins the race. You eat an elephant one bite at a time. So we need to be proactive. We need to be making things happen and making good decisions rather than waiting for things to happen and being in a reactive mode. So those are my 5 goals. And how are we going to do that? How are we going to accomplish all of this? Is, like I said, through education and 20 years of stuff in my brain. So now, the way, let's say a private investigator, a policeman, a judge, anytime you really want to make a decision and you need the facts, just the facts, there's a framework that people use. It's the who, what, where, when, why, and how framework. And so what I've done is I've put this presentation, and Nelly put her presentation in as well, and we're going to follow this format. So my 5 W's, the who should decide to stay or go, what are your options and what are your costs? When should you stay or go? Where are the funds coming from your care? Because you're going to need care. We all are going to need care as we age. So where are those funds coming from? And why should you choose one or the other? And I'm going to do that in 20 to 25 minutes. So wish me luck. Now, how do you decide one way or the other? So there's 5 W's, there's 1 H. The 1 H is the how. And we're going to start with who should decide to stay or go. Now tell me if this sounds familiar to anybody out there or somebody you're living with. You know, they say, I love my home. I've lived here for decades. I have no mortgage. It's practically free to live here. I'm just not old enough to go to those retirement communities and they're way too expensive anyway. And I'm sure not selling my house. I've gained tons of equity over the years and I'm not paying those capital gains taxes. And what if I change my mind and I have too much stuff to move, right? And I have this paralysis of analysis. So does that sound like somebody you might know? I know it sounds like me. So I hear you loud and clear. Now that was we're still on the who. We're going to break it down and we're going to put you into 2 buckets, okay? Who really is about 65 or older, you should start thinking about this. And it used to be 75 or older or 85 or older, but now the demographic is getting a little younger. People are making these decisions on whether to stay or whether to go at younger ages because they want to get to that all-inclusive resort sooner than later. So you do have choices. You have two choices, lots of options, right? So you could stay in your current home, you can go to a smaller home, you can go to a remodeled home, you can make that interim solution to a 55 plus community, you can relocate out of the area, you can relocate to your vacation or rental home in Tahoe or wherever. There's so many different ideas that I've heard over the 20 years of doing this of people wanting to stay, right? And utilize in-home care services, which is great. A la carte, you use them when you need them. They're great until you get to a certain point, and then you have to make a decision. We don't want you to wait too long to make that decision. So here's the one bucket, the I'm staying in my home or using in-home care, or there's the let's transition to a continuing care retirement community, which is a CCRC. They have all 4 levels of care. You go in the independent living front door, you go transfer into assisted living should you need to. You have skilled nursing and memory care on campus. Now that's huge because there's 200 different communities and there's only 8 of them that actually have those services on campus. So you need to make that decision. And then there's 2 different types of pay models. There's the month-to-month pay model where you're just renting a place, and should you run out of funds, they'll ask you to leave because you can't pay the rent. Or there's the entrance fee or the country club membership, where you will not be asked to leave should you outlive your funds because there's a benevolence fund, and then you go month to month after that. So like I said, lots of options, only 2 choices. You're either staying or you're going. And now we're going to get into what are the costs. And I'm not going to go through this with a fine-tooth comb, but you can see that if you need a la carte care, maybe 3 hours a day, it's probably going to cost you about 40 or 50 grand a year. Now, do you have an extra 40 or 50 grand per year for the rest of your life? If you need more care, and you'll see this is where you cross the line from independent living into assisted living. You're going to see this red line come up again in the presentation. This is when things get a little more expensive because you're needing more care, and the care is based on an hourly rate of about $45 to $50 an hour. So you can see that these prices really start to go up, and if you need skilled nursing in your home, your prices are going to go up. If you have a larger person in your home and they need 2 caregivers, your prices are going to double. And if you're needing them more than 8 hours a day, you're going to be paying overtime, so your costs are going to go up. And now here's where your costs, some of the hidden costs that you don't really realize is that you still have these housing expenses while you're living in your home. Some of you have a mortgage, but some of you don't, but you all have maintenance and upgrades and property taxes and insurance and utilities and food and entertainment and security and all these different things that go with staying in your home and aging in place with in-home care services. Now, notice I started out over here on the retirement living community side after the assisted living line, and you'll see that these prices are about half of the in-home care costs. Now, you still are going to have to pay for skilled and memory care. It's more expensive. But what you're not going to have to pay are those housing expenses, right? So no more mortgage, maintenance, upgrades, all of the things that go with owning a house. And our number one goal really in life, I mean, if I had to boil everything I do down to one thing, is I know you don't want to outlive your funds. So there are ways of staying where you won't outlive your funds. I can show you those. Could be a reverse mortgage, could be any number of things. Or there's a way of going to a retirement community and not outliving your funds either. But that's our number one goal. All right, now, when should you make this choice, this decision of staying or going? Well, at the retirement community, the continuing care retirement community, they want you to come in the healthy front door, independent living, no walkers, no ailments, no anything. You come in the independent living front door and you move through the system into assisted living, into skilled nursing if you need it, into memory care if you need it. But if you were to wait until you were deemed that you needed assisted living and you came and knocked on the side assisted living door and said, hey, I know you told me to make this decision sooner, but now I need assisted living. Can I get in now? And they're going to say, well, no, because we told you to come in the front door independent living, and now you're going to be forced to be in a reactive mode because now you have to stay in your home with in-home care. So please don't wait too long. That's the moral to that story of when should you go. I don't want you to wait too long. I want you to know when to hold them and when to fold them, when to walk away and when to run. And I don't want you gambling on your health, on the value of your home, if it's going to go up or down at the time you need to sell. I don't want you to be a gambler, and I just want you to be cognizant of, let's make that move before we need to. Let's make it when we want to. Okay. Now, where are these funds coming from? Because you're going to have to pay for the in-home care as we get older. Now, I'm sorry I'm being negative, but there's some things we need to talk about, and it's going to be the cost of your care as we age. And like I said, you could get real lucky and not need any care, but that's a gamble. We just don't know. So if you are aging in place with in-home care services, you're going to pay for those services via your cash flow. And your cash flow would be your Social Security and your pension and your savings account, and maybe from your reverse mortgage, you're getting some funds there. And then you're going to start dipping into your investment portfolio because you need to pay for those in-home care costs that we talked about are going to increase as time goes by. And I don't want you to be dipping into your investment portfolio. And you want to stay in your home, and you don't want to dip into your home because you'd have to sell it. And you said you don't want to sell it. You want to stay in your home. So we're going to protect that, right? You're not getting to my house. I'm going out feet first. I love my home. I love my neighborhood. I'm going to age in place with in-home care services. Now, here's the red line. If you are deemed assisted living, when those costs start to go up and you've, let's say, exhausted your cash flow, you've exhausted the reverse mortgage, you've exhausted your investments, now we're going to have to sell that home. That's a reactive way of living your life. If something bad happens, then I'm going to do this. It's not a proactive approach. And once you've sold your home, now where are you going to live? You're either going to rent, you're probably going to rent, or move out of the area and buy something cheaper. Now, the proactive way of doing it is to transition to an independent retirement community. Well, they'll let you in the front door, and you bought your home as an investment, buy low and sell high. And if you sell high proactively, you are now a millionaire, and you can do more things. You'll have money to repair your home. Well, not after you sell, but before you sold. You can take more trips, you can help more people out, and you can use that cash flow because you're a millionaire now, and you can do whatever you want to do. And when that red line comes, you'll be able to pay for it, no problem, because you're in a community of like-minded people that has services and amenities that you'll need that you don't get in your home. So that's where are the funds coming from. I want you to use your investments last. I want you to cash out of your home first. That's the more proactive way. So the moral to the story here is you don't want to wait too long to decide, and you don't want to outlive your funds. So it's pretty simplistic there. Now, here's the why. And I'm going to start out with the why not. It's the in-home care industry as a whole. And like I said, it's a beautiful industry. They help you do things. They come and take care of you, and they unburden your family. And it's great if you can get a hold of them, if they'll come to your home. But the in-home care industry is the fastest growing service in the United States today. It's because of the baby boomers. It's post-COVID. The industry is completely overwhelmed. There's a shortage of these workers, and 50% of the time, you're being turned away. Now, that can't be part of your plan, because your plan was, I'm going to use in-home care services, but if they can only get there 50% of the time, that plan is kind of flawed. And there's a big turnover rate. There's no consistency in these people, and there's safety and security issues. You're going to get a different person every time if you can get that person. All right. So that's the why not. Now, this is near and dear to my heart. This is isolation. And isolation can come when you're by yourself or with your co-owner, but you're still isolated from the world. Now, you could be getting out, you could be active, but like my mom and my dad, they're isolated. They don't get out a whole lot. So there could be some mental health decline because you're lonely, you're depressed, you're anxious. Everybody in the world is, but when you're by yourself, it's even worse. And then you can get a physical health decline. You have decreased mobility. It actually accelerates cognitive decline. You have reduced access to support, to healthcare, to daily activities, to emergency support. You're missing out on a lot of socialization, a sense of community. And we need connection. And this is near and dear to my heart because isolation is a huge problem in the world in the past 4 years. There's a lot of going on there. So I want you to think about the fact that you need some connection. All right, now what you do get at a retirement community is you get health and mental fitness and social and fun and convenience and security and safety. And these things are not available in most of our homes, right? And you don't have to worry about the industry overload or turnover issues or isolation concerns because you're around like-minded people who are being proactive just like you were. They made a choice, a proactive choice to sell their investment and live like millionaires. And also you have access, direct access to assisted living, skilled nursing, memory care, and they have a dedicated staff with a very high retention. If you were somebody giving in-home care services, wouldn't you rather work at a community where you know the clientele, you're not working with somebody different every day, and they want to work at these communities, and these communities are fully staffed for the number of people that are living in the community. So you can tell I'm a little bit biased towards the retirement community living, not because I want to stick a sign in your lawn and I think you should sell, it has nothing to do with that. I'm just helping you make the best decisions for your future. And I honestly feel that the retirement community is your best bet for an adventure. I call them adventure communities. It's not a retirement community. It's the best chapter of your life. And that's how you're going to have it, is not being isolated. So that's my 2 cents. So now we know the differences between aging in place with in-home care services or the retirement community. Your current home might not be appropriate. Your current home is going to cost you more. It's more unpredictable. Your options are limited, especially if you hit that assisted living mark and the isolation and the mental risk. Now on the retirement community side, I know I sound biased, but those places are built and designed for seniors. The costs are lower. In fact, it's probably 50% lower. So if you can afford to stay in your home and pay all of those, and you want to, and you have a support network that is ready, willing, and able to support you, then I'm all for that, right? Also, your options are much greater at a retirement living community, especially if you come in the independent living front door and you've got that health and social and convenience and safety. So it's time now to start being proactive. I want you to start taking the first step, okay? Now, here's the hats I wear, and here are the 3 stages of your transition. The first stage is, I don't know if I want to stay or go. That's why you're on this webinar today, right? So I wear a lot of hats as a transition specialist. And my first hat is like a concierge, like a consultant, or like a friend. And we're going to talk about where you currently stand in your home ownership. We're going to evaluate your home ownership in 5 areas: your health, your finances, your support network, your trust, estate, and taxes, and your real estate. And we're going to judge and we're going to evaluate where you stand, where you're strong, where you're weak, and we're going to help you get more balanced. And once we have a clear picture of where we are, now we can start to think about where we see our life going, how we see it playing out, your perfect life. And we have an exercise in the Stay or Go workbook. This is a downloadable document. You fill it out yourself, and it gives you a exercise called the postcard from the future, where you're talking to yourself from the future and you're saying, here's what we do every day, here's who we're near, here's what we're doing, more of what we love, we're doing less of what bothered us, and we're living our best life. And what does that look like? And that will help you make good decisions. So if you have 2 decisions to make, choice A or choice B, choice A might make sense today if you don't have a postcard from the future, and choice B might sound crazy. But if you do have that postcard from the future, you're saying to yourself, well, I know it sounds crazy today, but it's pointing me in the direction of my perfect future. And that's what I want for you. I want you to have the perfect future. You deserve it. You earned it. You're at the stage of your life where you can take advantage of it. So that's the I might want to go. And that gives you the clarity and the certainty and the confidence you need to make some good choices. The next phase, I guess you would say, or stage, is okay, I know I want to go, but how does this all work? I know that this sounds like a lot of work. And so I'm here to educate you. And in the Stay or Go workbook, there are all links to all of the webinars. All of these, oh, no, don't have all the webinars, but there's 8 different webinars that you can go and educate yourself. So you have a clear picture and understanding of your choices that you have. And then we're going to explore all of those options. Are you going to stay in your home? You're going to move out of the area? You're going to go to 55 plus or a retirement community? So that helps you break your paralysis of analysis. I know where I am. I see myself in the future. I've educated myself. I've explored all my options. Now you've broken your paralysis of analysis, and now I put my pilot's hat on when you're ready to go. And we put a flight plan together to sell your home with the least amount of stress possible, because it's a big move. You've been there for 30, 40, 50 years, and it's not just, oh, I'm just moving and going. I have to put on my Sherpa hat. If you're going to a retirement community, it's a much different transaction than it is just to sell your home in a typical manner. I've been to Everest a number of times, and I can help you not step in those potholes. So I'm almost done. This is the how you're going to decide. I would suggest that you download the Stay or Go workbook. I wrote it myself. It's downloadable. I don't need to bother you or anything. You could do it on your own. You print it out. Maybe both of you print one and you combine your, because I wrote my postcard from the future and I showed it to my wife. I said, look, honey, this is our postcard from the future. And she's like, oh, that's nice, dear. I'll figure one out and then we'll make our compromise. So in addition to all of the self-evaluation, the vision of the future exercise, all those educational webinar links, there's a couple of bonus little things in there. So I would definitely download that. I can't find anything else that's out there on the internet, and it'll get you to that 51%. If you want to get together, you can put an appointment right on my calendar. Go to the website at stayorgohomeowner.com. You'll see my calendar. You'll put an appointment right on there. We can meet in person, on the phone, on Zoom, at your home, whatever, and I can go through all of these 5 steps with you. When I do come to your home, and it's the only way to get this, is the How It All Works pre-transition guide. This is how the entire thing works from the time you make your decision till the time you make your transition. What's going on at the retirement community? What's going on at your home? So during the 4 stages of, I'm not on the waiting list. Well, what should you be doing at your home and at the retirement community? Well, I got on the waiting list. Now what do I do? Well, and then now I've selected my apartment. I love it. Now what do I do? Well, now I'm ready to move in and move out. Now what do I do? It's all spelled out here. It's 35 pages. You can only get it if you meet with me. Sorry, but I need to explain it to you. It's not that easy, like I said. So I'd be more than happy to get that manual to you so that you have a roadmap and a floor plan of where you're going, how it's all working, and you don't have to wonder, and it's going to reduce your stress. All right, so I don't know if I fit that into 20 minutes or 25 minutes. I don't know if I talked too fast. You can get the recording and watch it again, or we can meet and I can just go over all that with you. So I wanted to thank you for hanging in there with me for the should I stay or should I go, how and when to decide. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the webinar over to Nelly Cotto, who's the sales director for WellRive, who you may know as Managing Moves and More. And she is just a wealth of information. She's been doing this forever. She's a published author. I can always count on her. All of the retirement communities really depend on WellRive. They're a known good. You're going to hear their name a lot when you go into the retirement community and you say, gosh, I need help. They're going to say, call Brian and call Nelly. So I'm going to ask Nelly to unmute herself.
Okay, thank you, Brian. Hope you can hear me okay. I am so happy to be here with you all today. I have been with Managing Moves and More for a while, and I started as a move manager, and all that entails transitioning seniors to their new home, and moved into the sales position back in March. But I'd like to share a little something else about myself. I personally am on move number 26. That's correct. I have moved 26 times. 3 of those moves were cross country. 4 of those moves were overseas. Also currently on downsize number 8. So I think there's a good chance I can relate to where you are with your transitions and downsizing and so on. I'd also like to introduce you to my company. CRI has been relocating individuals worldwide for over 30 years. 2 years ago, they decided to enter the senior move management industry and purchased Gentle Transitions. Last year, they purchased the company I was working for, Managing Moves and More. At that time, they formed the national brand WellRive to represent their senior move management division. Okay, so who needs right sizing and move management services? Well, if you're overwhelmed, it's another way to deal with all that stuff. So, someone like yourself, or maybe someone who wants a less stressful experience, or maybe you need additional support because of physical limitations, time limitations, and the one we get lots of calls for, last minute moves. And then often we have to ask this question, who is in charge? I don't know if you can relate to a room like this, but it turns out 54% of Americans feel overwhelmed by the amount of clutter they have. 78% don't know what to do with it or find it too complicated to deal with, so they let it build up and take over their home. I don't know. I would say that the books are winning here. And so, what may sound counterintuitive in a downsizing seminar is that, we ask you to consider the move first. And so, everything else after, and start with a list of the furniture and even take the width and length measurement. And then as you're selecting these pieces that you're adding to your list, why not choose pieces that you love, that you feel really good about, that in other words brings you joy? And if you're downsizing to a smaller space, additional storage is a good thing to bring to your new space. And so where is it all going to go? We like working with a floor plan because beginning with a floor plan is kind of the best way to identify what pieces of furniture are going to work best in your new space. Now, even if you're staying in place, these pieces are the ones that you're definitely not going to sell or donate. And so a floor plan also helps you to look at flow. What is the best flow from space to space and room to room? And be open to creatively designing this floor plan because most likely it's a new configuration. And of course, a floor plan is helpful to avoid this sort of thing from happening. And so I don't know if you can identify with a room like this. I could. I had a room like this, and at the time it made a lot of sense. We were a growing family. We kept moving into a bigger house until 4 people landed in 4,600 square feet. And I've been downsizing ever since. And so I had firsthand experience with having to part with those cherished items that we don't want to, part with. But it kind of helps to do a little reality check. I know it helped me. So here are some fun facts. The average American home has over 300,000 items in it and has nearly tripled in size over the past 50 years. 25% of people with 2-car garages don't have room to park cars inside them, and 32% only have room for 1 vehicle. Does that sound familiar? The US has upward of 50,000 storage facilities, more than 5 times the number of Starbucks. So not only have we kicked our cars to the curb, we've gone off-site, purchased more square footage for stuff. And so it turns out that the 80-20 rule applies to our stuff because most people only use 20% or less of the items in their home. And this could explain why. Impulse buying accounts for about 45% of what's in our homes. And while 58% of women impulse purchase, 48% of men have as well. And so what to do with all of this? Well, 95% on average, 95% of what's in your home sells for pennies to the dollar. That means that trying to sell may cost you more in dollars and time. So we recommend you donate. You consider donating, especially if you answer no to these scenarios. Do I need it or use it? Do I love it? Does family want it? Would I buy it again? Does it reflect my lifestyle? If you answer no, consider donating them. this could be a good place to start. And then my all-time favorite, why we hold on to things. I may need it someday. Well, it turns out someday doesn't appear on any day of the week. It never arrived yesterday, and it always fails to arrive tomorrow. So those items you've been holding on for 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, for someday, I think it's time to let it go. It's only a suggestion. And then this one helped me out a lot because remember, I said I was very attached to my very cherished items, but I found a charity whose mission I resonated very closely with. And knowing where these pieces were going, it felt like my legacy was continuing and I was helping in that mission. And so here are some whys we stay stuck. What I like to call the elephant in the room is the big one. Fear. Every first meeting with a client as a move manager, there was an undercurrent of fear. And when I dig a little bit deeper, as to why there was so little action or decision making, I'd hear things like, well, I've been here over 40 years. I don't know what it's going to be like after here. I only know this. Or what if I regret my decision? Or what if I end up even more alone? And so, another reason why we get stuck is because any kind of change brings a level of stress to it. Well, experts have found that we each have a window of tolerance. That's that beautiful beach scene you see there. And when you are operating within that window of tolerance, you feel like you can deal with whatever's happening in your life. Now, if that stress level were to go above that window of tolerance, you most likely are going to feel anxiety and overwhelm. Below it, you're going to possibly experience depression or sluggishness. And I think it's important to keep in mind that it's normal to experience stress during change or a move. The Institute of Stress a few years ago conducted a study and found that moving was the third most stressful life event in an adult's life. And furthermore, the older the adult, the greater the stress. And so, why right size? Well, a recent happiness study of 50 plus year olds showed that our satisfaction and enjoyment of material things diminishes over time, while our satisfaction with experience, for example, memories, increases over time. So it turns out that all this stuff we have isn't what is making us most happy. It's those experiences. Furthermore, the longevity study from Harvard that started in the 1930s have found these. Relationships and community keep you living. Those with strong social support experience less mental decline as they age, and loneliness kills. It's as powerful as smoking and alcoholism. And so the Surgeon General last year published a report that stated the loneliness crisis in America has reached a very critical stage, and he's very concerned. And so why? Why downsize? Why right size? Why do any of this? Well, there are many benefits. I have witnessed them. Our clients have given us feedback, and we've just gathered information from the industry. It has proven to reduce stress, feel lighter, less clutter, more energizing, less to clean. Woohoo! Feel more peaceful and at ease, safer environment, reduces anxiety. Okay, so this is our number one feedback, increases confidence. We hear that from clients all the time. Brain gets instant therapeutic boost, feel less tired and reduce depression, and potentially your favorite find lost treasure so you can hopefully donate it. I often get asked, so when should I start this? Well, I say yesterday, especially if you've been in your place, living in your home for over 20 years, because this is going to take a while. And so, about this stress, how do I go about doing this downsize that feels so overwhelming? Well, reframing and changing the mindset becomes a game changer. You can stay in the stress mode. That's not going to feel good. It's going to get physical, really physical, the not feeling good at some point. But just by making that choice to do something, sitting where you are today, gathering information, just by doing that, you start releasing some of this stress. Now, taking actual steps, moving forward, starting that momentum, talk about reducing stress. You start to really feel like you can take a lot more on. And so I was a life and business coach in my previous life for many, many years. And I'm going to put that cap back on for a minute here because I have been asking these two questions of adults of all ages, all walks of life, and they have been relevant through the decades. What absolutely matters most to me? What would be my most ideal life? Brian touched that a little bit. And really, when was the last time you allowed yourself to even explore this? And so your sincere, heartfelt responses to these two questions actually become your North Star for this transition or whatever it is you're working on right now, because all the decisions are going to need to measure up to your responses here. If it doesn't meet what you're really wanting more in your new life or what really matters to me, then you can let it go. Then you can say no to it. Makes a huge difference. It helped me tremendously. And so again, if you've been in your home 20, 30, 40 years or more, the idea that you can downsize in 2 weeks, a month, 2 months is perhaps a little unrealistic, I want to say. We like to compare this to a marathon versus a sprint, and then start really small. Wait for it. 15 minutes a day. I know, I know that sounds like it's nothing, but I got to tell you, I've observed or witnessed a 3 to 4 hour start from clients, and it was always a deal breaker. 15 minutes a day, believe it or not, gets that momentum jump started. You can keep adding every couple of days to this, but certainly try to start here. And then easy stuff first, one room and space at a time. And very importantly, be kind to yourself. This is very taxing work. I'm going to tell you, spread it out over a longer period of time. And you'll get to the end of this. Another how is don't start here. Remember that deal breaker? Most likely, this is going to be a deal breaker trying to downsize this space first. You can build up to this, okay? But then you have the dad standing there next to his son, and he's saying to his son, I've been collecting all these treasures for the last 50 years. And when I die, I'm going to gift it all to you. What do you think, son? Well, what do you think the son is thinking? Okay, he's in shock. And it doesn't mean that he doesn't want one or two or five pieces. He very well may. But we believe that the real gift is taking care of this stuff that's not moving with you sooner rather than later. Okay, so I have a really quick right sizing activity that you can start with. Now, this is after you've created your list of furniture. Maybe you start at that floor plan. And then next, get yourself a clear garbage bag, a large one, not black or a box, because some donation sites don't accept them. And then starting with the rooms you use most often, begin adding items that you know are ready for donation. And if you have to stop and think about it, move on, go on to the next one. It's not ready to go in the bag, okay? And then you're gonna fill this bag until it's not too heavy. You're gonna tie it up and you're going to walk it to your car and drive it to the donation site. And whatever you do, you're not going to walk it to that garage we just saw so that you can hopefully deliver it to your donation site. When? Yes, someday. We're going to avoid someday at all costs. Okay, and so then you've got your furniture list, you completed your right sizing activity that I just showed you. Now comes everything else. And we use a 3-color sticker system. Green equals move, undecided means yellow, and then a red sticker or a clear bag means you're going to donate it. Okay, so we have a living room here, a photo of a living room, a large wall unit. You are not, that's like the garage we just saw. You're not going to tackle this entire wall unit. You're going to break it down. So let's break it down right now. On the far right, to the right of that TV, there are 3 compartments. The top one is a cubicle, then there's a longer cabinet underneath that, and then the shorter cabinet underneath that. Go ahead and put a green sticker on that longer cabinet to the right of the TV. And the one below it, the shorter one, you're going to add a yellow sticker, and that's your undecided items. The green move items are above it. And then the open cubicle on the very top is for the red sticker. And that's, you can continue to put items into your clear bag, but if perhaps it's too big or awkward, it can go in that space there. And you're going to work your way down, just picking section by section until you complete it, and you can bring other items, but really you're working with this wall unit. And this applies to any storage unit. You can use this system. And so next, let's go to the kitchen. Place a wide berth vase on the counter. And as you use your utensils and wash them, put them back into this container, into this vase. And what you'll find is after a few weeks, these are the only utensils you're using. And so all the other utensils in all those drawers and all those other spaces, you can go ahead and put a red sticker on them. Or if you feel motivated, put them in the clear garbage bag, tie it up and bring it to the donation site. And again, this tip can be used in the office. Put a basket there. And as you use your pens, your staplers, whatever, keep them in the basket. And what you'll find is the same thing after a couple months. These are the only items in your office that you're using. Same thing with your bathroom and toiletries. So it really helps to bring everything down to a shrunken load. Let's call it a load, okay? And so, this 3-sticker system pretty much touches everything in your home. And whatever you're going to do is not to deconstruct your home and have piles and piles and piles of donation and move. Keep everything intact. And so I have this recommendation that I applied myself. And I had many photos and frames. And remember, I'm on downsize number 8. And at this last downsize, I thought it was about 40, but no, it ended up being about 24 photos in frames that I didn't have anywhere to, place them on. So I took them out of their frame, put the frame in the clear bag, and then put the photos in here. Whoops. And I keep this box next to my favorite chair. And when I am watching TV or working on my laptop, I can look at photos, and I'm actually seeing these photos more often than when they were in frames. Okay, and so it turns out the 80-20 rule applies to your clothes as well. You're only wearing about 20% of it. So if they no longer fit, or you haven't worn it in the past year or feel good in it, go ahead and donate it. And so I have this little tip. It's called the reverse hanger. And when you first walk into the closet, the back of the hanger hook is facing you. Go ahead and take all your hanging clothes and flip them so that the opening is facing you when you step into the closet. And so as you wear them and launder them, put them back again, flipped. And what you'll find is these are the only clothes you're wearing, except for those occasional wedding or other pieces. So you can go ahead and put those in clear bags for donation. And remember when I said 95% of what's in our home sell for pennies to the dollars? That includes china, crystal, and collectibles, which I know is heartbreaking. I know what I paid for all of mine, so it's heartbreaking. And to tell you, even the unique pieces that your grandparents brought over from their old country, they also are selling for pennies to the dollar in the resale market. And it doesn't mean that you don't have valuable pieces that can sell. Certainly get those appraised. And current trend in our company is that our clients are using, including myself, those china pieces and crystal. Why not? Why use the chipped, cheap stuff? And so, I encourage you to get started yesterday, remember, and to go as far as you can. If you make it to the finish line, I'm going to be the first one to applaud you. However, if you need extra support, WellRive is here to partner with you in whatever way we can. We offer all these services. Some people, floor planning, that's just not their thing. Downsizing, it just feels too overwhelming, even using the 3-sticker system that I offer. Maybe you just don't have it in you right now. We can handle the move for you. So the day before you move, we come in with a crew, we pack you, put everything into boxes carefully, and then move it to your new space, place it according to the floor plan, and then we unpack you and set up your closets, dress your bed, we set up your kitchen, your bathrooms, we hang the pictures, we stage everything. Make sure your TV and computer are operating. And we can do from one or all of these services, whatever makes sense to you. And so, I ask you, which do you prefer, the one on the left or the right? On the left probably will take you another 3 to 4 months to fully settle in. The photo on the right is an actual client's home that was ready by dinner time. So, that's your options. And so if you have any questions or you need to reach out to partner with me, if you can quickly jot down that number, 844-204-5619. Again, even if it's to partner, the first 5 people to call, we're actually offering a $250 discount. And that's like 2.5 free hours with us. So please give us a call. I thank you for your time. This was a lot of fun.
Thanks, Nelly. You did great. You're so optimistic and upbeat, and everybody's like, "Oh my God, how do
I
I do?
had so much fun.
What am I getting myself into?" And I just want everyone to know, even Nelly needs to downsize, so don't feel bad, right? I mean, it's like a dentist with their kids have cavities. We're all guilty, and it takes courage. It takes stick to itness, and like I said, you eat an elephant one bite at a time. Just slow and steady. That 15 minutes a day. Don't go 20 minutes or 30 minutes. Just a teeny bit every day. And then you're gonna walk by that junk drawer and you're gonna look in there. You don't even need anything in the junk drawer. You walk by, you're like, I want to see that again, because I'm getting
Feel
organized,
proud.
right? A little baby steps. So yeah, we know it's difficult, but think of it this way. You're probably trying to do regret minimization. All of what we're talking about. Should I stay? Should I go? Should I downsize? In 5, 10, 15, 20 years, are you more likely to say, or, I wish I had, or I wish I did, right? I wish I had done that. I wish I would have made that decision. I wish I would have downsized, or I'm glad I did. So keep that, I want you to be confident in the direction of your dreams, right? You should live your best life ever. And this is it.
This
Uh,
is for
so
sure.
yeah, little bits of time. So anyway, what we're going to do now is I'm going to switch over to the Q&A section. We have 7 minutes left, so it's perfect timing. The first question is, and we need to keep these answers succinct and keep going. So the first question is for Nelly. How far do you move people?
So we move people cross country, across state, or in the same neighborhood. Uh, yeah,
Okay.
all over the country.
All right. So you're okay operating in the Central Coast, and you're part of NASM, right?
Oh yes, we have the A++ designation with NASM, and we continue to be voted one of the best move management companies. We are top in the Bay Area for sure. Uh, yes, we are very, very known for this.
Yeah, NASM is a national organization of move managers, senior move managers, and so they do everything kind of the same way, and it's a repeatable system and a process. So they're linked in with their equivalent company in that other area, and it's national. So you can feel
Yes.
comfortable knowing that everybody's doing things the same way, whether they're in San Diego or New York. So,
And can I just add one quick thing
of
here
course,
is that you would only work with one person, one move manager, and that move manager is going to communicate across all the other services, and so it really simplifies it for you.
yeah. Another question is, does WellRive do estate sales? And the other part of that question would be, when do you recommend doing an estate sale or at all?
So it depends. Again, 95% of what's in our home sells for pennies to the dollar. So what we're finding is our estate sale people, they'll come through, walk through, and they may take from several homes pieces and create one estate sale at one home. And so, yes, I highly recommend it if it's possible, if you have really high value items. It really cuts down on what it costs to clear out your home to get it ready for a sale. So you've moved everything that you're going to move to your new home, everything that's left. It reduces the cost of clearing that out.
Yeah. And also, I've heard you have to have like $10,000 worth of inventory to make it worthwhile for an actual estate sale company to come in and do an
In
estate
your
sale
home, a
in your
single
home.
estate sale home.
Right.
Yes, that rarely happens anymore because of the real where the resale market is right now.
Right. And we've got a contact, both of us use her, that can come into your home and she'll give you cash on the barrel right there for all of the stuff. And then
And
she'll
she'll
have her
bring
own.
her truck if it's a piece of furniture that she wants, so you don't
Exactly.
have to find a way to deliver it
Right.
to her. It's very, very useful. She's so resourceful.
Yeah. Okay. I had another question. When you get to a point where you need more help with your, oh, that was the answer. Sorry. I put, the question is, are there some rental only, not the buy-in, the rental only seniors communities in Silicon Valley that provide services, dining and housekeeping and whatnot? And the second part of the question was, aren't they calling continuing care retirement communities life plan communities or life care communities? Yes, they're trying to change that name. They're always trying to come up with something new in marketing. So there are true CCRCs in Silicon Valley that have all four levels of care on campus. There's only two of them, actually, that are month to month true CCRCs. And I was asked, what are the names of those companies or those communities? And there are two communities, only two, and I have my finger on the pulse of 200 communities in the 10 surrounding counties. Out of all of these, there's only two that I know of that are month to month CCRCs, and one is Sunny View Retirement Community in Cupertino by De Anza College, and then there's a very boutique place that is month to month, True CCRC in Willow Glen. It's about 2 blocks from my house. It's in a beautiful little neighborhood. They're cottages, not apartments. And there's a CVS and a grocery store right there and a neighborhood you can walk in. So they're far and few between, but you can find them. And so if you do need help finding the right community for you, on the website, we have a community finder. You punch in what you're looking for in a community. I ask you a bunch of different questions. And then I've got my assistant in the background, and she goes through our spreadsheet of 200 different communities, and she'll pull out the ones that match your search criteria and send those to you. So that's a valuable resource on the website. It's stayorgohomeowner.com. Tons of informational stuff there. We're not selling you anything, not trying to convince you of anything. It's just a bunch of educational free things, and we don't take your information and do anything with it. So I think we've answered all of the questions, and we're at 11:59. So we did it. And I really, really appreciate Nelly for you being here. I know you're a busy, busy person.
My pleasure.
She is a wealth of information. We don't want you, we want you to decide for yourself. So we'll help you whether you're staying or whether you're going. I'm not going to feel bad if you don't use me as a realtor. I'm not going to feel bad if you don't put a sign in your lawn and you decide to stay. But, you know, it helps getting together and meeting with seasoned professionals who this is all they do, and we can help you. No strings attached, no expectations on our part. So thanks again for being here. Expect an email coming soon with the recording, the YouTube link for the recording of this so that you can send it to other people. And we'll see you on the next one. Have a great weekend, and talk to you soon. Take care.
Thank you.
All
Take
right.
care, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.